Welcome to Spiritual Healing Coach. Here we blend the care of human understanding with AI tools designed to help you heal faster, remember your truth, and find resources when you need them most. If you've landed here, you may be carrying wounds from faith spaces that once promised safety. You are not broken, and you are not alone. This is a place for women to heal from spiritual abuse, rebuild trust with God, and reclaim what was stolen. Number 5, naming the harm. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. One of the most powerful steps in healing is saying, "This happened and it was wrong." Abusers and toxic systems survive by silencing their victims. They may quote scripture to shame you into keeping quiet or insist that speaking up is gossip. But naming the harm is not revenge. It's truth-telling, and truth is a form of freedom. I once heard from a woman whose pastor told her the abuse she suffered was a test from God to grow her faith. For years she believed him and stayed silent. The turning point came when she wrote in her journal, "What happened to me was abuse. God did not send it." James 1:13 reminds us, "God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. Abuse is not his tool." If you're unsure where to start, try this simple exercise. Write one sentence that names what happened and affirms it was wrong. You don't need to share it with anyone yet. Say it to God in prayer, knowing he already knows and does not condemn you. Over time, those sentences become the bricks in the wall that separates you from lies. Our guided journaling prompts, shaped with AI insights and survivor wisdom, can help you find words when they feel stuck. Many women are surprised by how much clarity comes when they write without judgment. If you need help starting this conversation with a counselor, our resource guide can connect you with trauma-informed Christian therapists who understand the intersection of faith and abuse. Naming the harm also breaks spiritual gaslighting. It dismantles the false theology that says, holiness is silent suffering. Jesus never told the abused to hide their wounds. He brought them into the light and spoke dignity over them. Today, give your truth a voice, whether whispered, written, or prayed. Each time you name it, the weight lessens. And with every word of truth, you take back ground that was always yours. Your story matters, and your voice matters. When you've lived through spiritual abuse, it's common to feel like both have been stolen. We blend the compassion of human care with AI tools that help you find clarity and resources faster, so you never have to walk this road alone. If you've begun naming the harm, you've already taken a courageous step. Now it's time for the next. Or 4, reclaiming your voice. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. Spiritual abuse often begins by taking your voice. You may have been told your feelings were sinful, your questions dangerous, your story too divisive. Over time, you might have learned to speak less, to doubt yourself, or to stay silent entirely. But reclaiming your voice is an act of both courage and worship. It honors the truth God placed inside you. I once spoke with a woman who had been silenced in her church for asking why certain leaders were never held accountable. Years later, she began practicing a single sentence in private. "I have a right to speak the truth without fear." She whispered it while folding laundry. She repeated it on her morning walks. Eventually, those words found their way into a support group, where she was met with nods instead of shame. You don't need to start with a microphone in your hand. Begin in safe spaces. Your journal, a trusted friend, a counselor. If the words feel stuck, our guided prompts, shaped with AI insight and survivor wisdom, can help you untangle what's inside and put it into language. Reclaiming your voice will sometimes meet resistance, even from people who claim to love you. That resistance is not proof you're wrong. It's proof your truth is powerful. Your goal isn't to convince everyone. It's to stand in clarity before God who hears every word. Jesus defended women who spoke when culture told them to be silent. The woman at the well, Mary sitting at his feet, and the first witnesses to his resurrection who proclaimed the good news despite disbelief. Luke 24, 9-11. You stand in that same tradition of holy truth-tellers. Today, speak one true sentence without apology. Let it be yours. Let it be heard, even if only by God. Your voice was never meant to be buried. When you've been through spiritual abuse, the idea of setting boundaries can feel wrong, selfish, or even sinful. That's not an accident. Toxic systems often twist scripture to convince you that self-protection is unloving. But healthy boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They're gates that let love flow without letting harm in. We combine the compassion of human care with AI tools to help you find the language, courage, and clarity to draw those lines with confidence. Number 3, setting boundaries without guilt. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Boundaries are God's idea. They're built into creation itself, day and night, land and sea, seasons and cycles. Yet in abusive church cultures, boundaries are often labeled as rebellion. You might have been told that saying no shows a lack of forgiveness, or that good Christians turn the other cheek endlessly. In truth, Jesus himself set boundaries, walking away from hostile crowds, Luke 4:30, withdrawing to rest, Mark 6:31, and refusing to meet every demand placed on him. I spoke with a woman who had been expected to serve at her church every night of the week, even while caring for her newborn. When she finally said, "I can't do this anymore," she was told she was letting God down. It took months before she realized that saying no wasn't failing God. It was honoring the body and family he entrusted to her. If you've been taught that boundaries are unbiblical, start small. Identify one area where you feel consistently drained or unsafe. Write a short statement that honors your limit and your worth, such as, "I can't commit to that right now," or "I'm not available for this conversation." You don't owe long explanations. If you're unsure how to phrase your boundaries, our AI-assisted boundary setting guide can help you practice statements that are firm, respectful, and clear. Many women find that rehearsing these in safe spaces makes it easier to use them in more challenging situations. Boundaries aren't about punishment, they're about stewardship, protecting what God has given you so you can live in peace. Philippians 4:7 promises that God's peace will guard your heart and mind. Sometimes that guarding looks like a holy no. Today, take one small step toward guarding your heart. Write it down, speak it out loud, and remember, boundaries are not a betrayal of love. They are a way to love in truth. After betrayal in a faith setting, trust can feel like a fragile thing you'll never hold again. The people you once counted on to guide you may have become the very source of your pain. And if leaders who claim to speak for God broke your trust, you may wonder if you can even trust Him anymore. That's why this step is about learning to trust again. Not rushing, but rebuilding at the pace your heart can handle. We combine human care with AI-guided tools to help you identify safe relationships and spiritual practices that rebuild trust brick by brick. Number 2, learning to trust again. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Psalm 56:3. Trust is not something you can will into being. It grows over time in environments where safety is consistent and respect is real. In abusive systems, trust was often demanded instantly and without question. But real trust is earned, not coerced. I knew a woman who, after years of spiritual manipulation, decided she would never trust anyone again. For a while, it felt safer that way. But over time, she realized that complete isolation was cutting her off from the support she longed for. Her first step back wasn't trusting a leader. It was allowing one friend to pray for her without offering advice or judgment. That small act showed her that trust could be rebuilt in tiny, careful steps. Start with God. If prayer feels unsafe because of the way it's been used against you, talk to Him honestly about that. God is not threatened by your hesitation. He meets you in it. Psalm 34:8 invites you to taste and see that the Lord is good. You don't have to swallow the whole meal at once. A taste is enough to begin. With people, set clear boundaries and watch for consistency. Does this person respect your no? Do they listen without trying to fix you? Do they show up when they say they will? Our AI-assisted trust checklist can help you sort through red flags and green lights so you can choose your inner circle wisely. Rebuilding trust is not about forgetting the past. It's about creating a new future where your trust is valued and honored. Today, choose one small act of trust. It could be opening up one sentence to God or sharing a safe detail with someone who's earned it. Trust can grow again, not in the shadows of fear, but in the light of safety. You've walked through the pain of naming the harm, reclaiming your voice, setting boundaries without guilt, and learning to trust again. Each step has been a brave act of rebuilding. Now it's time for the final shift, embracing your new life. This doesn't mean the past disappears or the journey is over. It means you are ready to live forward, carrying your healing with you instead of your wounds, carrying you. For one, embracing your new life. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. Abuse tries to define you by what was taken. Healing redefines you by what remains and what can still grow. Your faith may look different now, but different doesn't mean broken. It may be quieter, freer, more honest. That's not a loss. That's a gift. I think of a woman who once told me she felt like her faith was in pieces after leaving a toxic church. She imagined God standing far away, waiting for her to fix herself before coming close. Over time, she began to see those pieces as seeds, each one holding a part of her story, ready to grow into something new. She planted them slowly: honest prayer, safe community, rest without guilt. Years later, she said her faith was more alive than it had ever been, not because it went back to what it was, but because it became what it was always meant to be. Embracing your new life means giving yourself permission to dream again. Ask God to show you where He's planting joy, purpose, and peace. Pay attention to what makes you feel alive, even in small ways. Healing doesn't erase the past, but it does change the way you carry it. If you need help imagining what's possible, our AI-guided vision prompts can help you explore your hopes and goals without fear of judgment. They're a tool to remind you that God's plans for you are not on hold. Isaiah 61:3 promises that God can give you a crown of beauty instead of ashes. You've walked through the ashes. Now, step into the beauty. If this series has spoken to your heart, you can help us keep creating healing resources for women around the world. Support the channel at ko-fi.com/spiritual healing coach. Your gift keeps this space free, compassionate, and available for every woman who needs it.